The Massachusetts market is catching its breath. Prices are still climbing, but the way homes change hands is shifting measurably. Start with September. Statewide, the median single-family sale price landed between $625,000 and $654,000, depending on the dataset used, both measured in September 2025. Sales moved, too. There were 3,769 single-family closings that month, up 8% from the 3,489 recorded in September 2020. By percentage, closed sales rose 4.8% for single-family and 6.4% for condos, a twin sign that demand didn't disappear with the summer. The price ledger tells a nuanced story. In September, the median for single-family homes grew year over year by roughly 4.2% to 4.7%, depending on the measurement window used. For condos, the median reached $525,000, a 1% increase from September 2024. Yet rewind to August, and single-family medians in Massachusetts printed at $680,000, up 4.6% from the prior August, while condo medians clocked in at $540,000, down 3.1% year over year. 2 consecutive months, 2 different beats, both accurate to their moment. You can see the rhythm in supply. In September, inventory for single-family homes contracted 4.2% from a year earlier, while condo inventory expanded 5.1%. New listings, however, trended the other way up, 7.5% for single-family and up 13.3% for condos, both measured year over year in September. August offered the same direction but smaller moves. New single-family listings up 1.3% versus August 2024, even as inventory shrank 3.3%. For condos in August, new listings rose 2.9% and total inventory nudged up 0.9%. The Massachusetts market is still short on homes, but more are entering the pipeline. Zoom out a bit. Over the first 9 months of 31,980 single-family homes changed hands statewide. That's a 3% gain from the same period in 24/7. Over those 9 months, the median single-family sale price across Massachusetts was $640,000, also up 3%. The volume is higher. The price floor is higher. Yet the experience on the ground feels different. Why? Rates and restraint. A recent mortgage rate cut gave buyers a little oxygen, and the approaching end of the year often cools the pace. Together, it's producing a slower, more thoughtful market. Signals suggest that if anticipated additional cuts arrive, that trend could continue. At the same time, when the prospect of a December cut was challenged publicly, mortgage rates jumped. That reminder policy is a live wire mattered, even without quoting a single percent. National context frames the Massachusetts tilt. In September, the typical home value across the United States was $364,891, flat 0.0% dash versus the prior year. By contrast, many corners of Massachusetts still notched price gains. Buyers are still competing for a limited supply of housing, and they are bidding up properties that hit the sweet spot on price and condition. Call it Goldilocks pricing, neither too high nor too low. In the fall, when schedules compress around holidays and inventory trickles in spurts, pricing right is the differentiation. In August, closed sales fell down 4.6% for single-family and 0.5% for condos, yet multiple offer situations still surfaced, and some properties stayed active longer. That tension is the new normal. The market is active, but it's discerning. Nowhere is that clearer than in Framingham. There, the median single-family sale price sits at $700,000, a touch above the statewide median of $665,000. More importantly, inventory has opened up. Framingham counted 55 single-family homes on the market this season, a sea change from the single-digit selections that defined recent years. With volume comes choice, and with choice comes a more balanced negotiation. Consider one house as a lens. On September 4th, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath cape on Magnolia Street in Framingham went live at $675. Built in 1,947, it carried a new 4-season sunroom, renovated bathrooms, and an EV charging station, all on a 0.18-acre lot. By the weekend, it had multiple offers and an accepted deal. The reason wasn't magic, it was alignment. Move-in ready, 2 full baths, and a list price just under the city's median and the state's $665,000 benchmark buyers responded. That price point matters in Framingham. Buyers aiming for a move-in ready single family with 2 full baths should expect a minimum around $675,000 based on what's moving. The city also has a notable stock of Campanelli slab ranch homes, 1-story, 3 or 4 bedrooms, 1 to 2 baths, that can range from $525,000 to $800,000 depending on condition and size. That range is its own market map in a single town. Options at the lower end of the band, roomier or newly updated homes near the top. Across Massachusetts, local maps tell their own versions. On the South Shore, Norwell's typical home value hit $1,273 in September with a one-year gain of $53,660 or 5.5%. Duxbury came in at $178,765, up $24,087 year over year, a 2.3% rise. On the North Shore, Manchester posted $1,289,884, up $46,657 for the year, a 3.8% increase, while nearby Wenham reached $1,040,000 with an annual rise of $46,683 or 4.7%. Gloucester, a coastal anchor, landed at $759,274, up $30,224 in a single year, a 4.1% move. The ring of affluent suburbs west of Boston still commands the heights. Weston led with a typical value of $2,220,602, up $48,044 in 12 months, 2.2% and up $832,165 over 5 years, a 52.9% climb that sets a striking backdrop. Wellesley followed at $1,969,343, rising $42,206 in a year, also 2.2%, and a 5-year increase of $640,686 or 48.2%. Lexington stood at $1,561,212, adding $26,790 in a year, or 1.7%, while nearby Newton printed $1,490, $949, up $34,506 year over year, a 2.4% gain. Northwest into Middlesex County, Concord registered $11,430 to $9,330 to $7, a one-year lift of $34,801, equal to 2.5%. Lincoln reached $1,518,768, up $30 to $6,647. In 12 months, 2.5% again, while Needham clocked in at $1,513,544, adding $22,323, a 1.5% climb. Dover topped $1,746,599 with a one-year increase of $35,329 or 2.1%, and Weston's neighbor, Wellesley, kept pace with its $42,206 one-year climb. East and north of Boston, Marblehead's typical value stood at $1,244,768, up $19,002 in 1 year, a 1.9% gain. Winchester, a stone's throw from the city, was at $1,514,768, rising $19,899 in a year, or 1.3%. Boxford logged $1,047,997, adding $33,762 year over year, a 3.3% increase, while Andover sat at $980,274 with a one-year rise of $22,976 or 2.4%. In the smaller city tier, Lawrence held at $500,341, up $17,738 year over year, a 3.7% move that underscores how mid-priced markets can still step up in a constrained state. Across the Worcester metro, values nudged higher in towns with more attainable price tags. Grafton recorded $600,841, up $17,485 in a year, or 3.0%. Sutton reached $627,201, adding $17,573, or 2.9%. Berlin came in at $655,085, up $21,575, a 3.4% increase. Ashland, closer to Greater Boston, showed $667,142, up $18,042.3 in a year, or 2.8%. In the Springfield metro, East Hampton posted $422,674, up $18,765, a 4.6% jump, while Longmeadow reached $522,062, up $20,563, or 4.1%. Push west into the Berkshires, and the contours shift again. Egremont's typical value hit $805,000, leaping $51,686 in a year, a 6.9% surge, and $341,259 over 5 years, a 73.6% climb. Monterey was $729,616, gaining $28,985 year over year, or 4.1%. Stockbridge stood at $738,102, up $26,652, or 3.7%. West Stockbridge posted $670,106, adding $20,213 in a year, 3.1%. Adams, one of the most affordable spots on this roster, held at $263,580, yet grew $20,736 in a year, an 8.5% rise that underlines how percentage changes can feel very different from raw dollars. North of Boston's core, coastal towns bracket similar arcs. Newbury printed $925K, $253, up $22K, $306 in 12 months, or 2.5%. Newburyport's neighbors, Rowley and Topsfield, came in at $7,048 and $961,242 respectively, with one-year increases of $18,492 or 2.4% and $19,580 or 2.1%. Hamilton posted $878,754, rising $22,767 in a year, a 2.7% gain, while Essex registered $899,407, up $24,711, or 2.8%. South Shore communities added steady gains at varying price points. Marshfield listed a typical value of $774,194, up $19,792, or 2.6%. Pembroke stood at $648,314, up $17,750 in a year, a 2.8% climb. Cohasset reached $1,390,509, up $28,174, or 2.1%. Norwell, again, led the South Shore in dollar change with that $53,660 one-year gain, while Scituate tallied $976,398, up $20,586 in a year, 2.2%. On the North Shore and just inland, West Newbury posted $942,399, up $19,854, or 2.2%. Danvers recorded $721,646, a $17,993 increase, or 2.6%. Methuen Bridging affordability and proximity sat at $609,720, up $20,348, or 3.5%. Merrimack reached $653,640, adding $22,790, a 3.6% jump. Andover, as noted, continued its quiet rise toward the million mark. The high end keeps ascending on a 5-year horizon. Weston's $832,165 5-year jump to $220,602 is the largest raw dollar move in this set. Wellesley's 5-year lift of $640,686 to $1,969,343 tells the same structural story. Duxbury's 5-year gain of $410,180 to $1,780.77 shows how coastal allure compounds. Concord's 5-year increase of $510,696 to $1,430 to $9,337 rounds the picture. Proximity, schools, and scarcity have been relentless drivers. On the lower-priced side, West Bridgewater came in at $585,266 with a $19,315 1-year gain, or 3.4%. Hanson posted $598,383, up $17,658, or 3.0%. Longmeadow's $20,563 rise to $522,062, 4.1%. Year-over-year shows the Springfield Metro is not asleep. East Hampton's $18,765 annual gain to $422,674 confirms it. Across these towns, the absolute dollars vary widely, but the signal is consistent. Where listings emerge and pricing is measured, buyers show up. Back to statewide mechanics. September's combination closed sales up, median prices up, new listings up signals a market that is active and rebalancing but still underbuilt. The drop in single-family inventory, 4.2% lower than a year earlier in September, proves scarcity remains. The rise in condo inventory, up 5.1% that same month, creates lanes for buyers who can trade a yard for amenities. In August, the divergence sharpened. Single-family medians up 4.6% to $680,000, while condos softened to a $540,000 median, down 3.1% year-over-year. Those are choices, not contradictions. And the choices now require craft. In September, new single-family listings rose 7.5% year-over-year, while condos surged 13.3%. More listings invite more scrutiny. Properties priced with precision attract multiple offers. Just ask that $675,000 Cape in Framingham. Overpriced homes linger, a reality hinted at by August's dip in closed sales. Down 4.6% for single-family and 0.5% for condos. Properties staying active longer isn't a glitch. It's an outcome of buyers who calibrate every square foot to the dollar. How does this play out in living rooms and spreadsheets? For a buyer with a state median budget of $665,000, Framingham's market offers a window Campanelli ranches between $525,000 and $800,000, and the occasional move-in ready Cape around $675,000. In Sutton at $627,201 typical value, or Grafton at $600,841, a similar budget reaches farther. In East Hampton at $422,674, it stretches into renovations or larger lots. In Weston at $2,220,602, or Wellesley at $1,969,343, that same budget redefines expectations condos, smaller homes, or waiting for off-peak openings. For sellers, the strategy has shifted from list and wait to price and execute. The data shows buyers are there. 3,767, 9 single-family closings in September, up 8% year-over-year. Over 9 months, 31,980 sales, a 3% rise from 22.4 suggest a steadier river of transactions. But the river is channeling around rocks. Inventory still shrinks on the single-family side, even as fresh listings trickle in larger waves. The way through is the way across market to the buyers who are active, at the prices that match the moment. For condos, there's a second chance emerging. With inventory up 5.1% year over year in September and new listings up 13.3%, more choice meets a buyer base that saw condo medians at $525,000 in September, 1% higher than a year before, and at $540,000 in August, 3.1% lower than the prior August. That push-pull creates negotiating room. Buyers who were boxed out of single-family homes at $680,000 in August or at the September range of $625,000 to $654,000 can look at condos with leverage, especially in buildings that have fresh listings and longer marketing windows. Travel the map again, and the past year's dollar changes show where heat remains. Wellesley's $42,206 annual rise. Weston's $48,044. Lincoln's $36,647. Newton's $34,506. Concord's $34,801. Dover's $35,329. In the North Shore Arc, Manchester's $46,657 and Wenham's $46,683. In the South Shore, Norwell's $53,660 and Cohasset's $28,174. These are not just numbers. They're budget lines for appraisals, comps for new listings, and targets for buyers deciding whether to stretch for an extra bedroom. In the Berkshires, the story is an acceleration from a lower base. Egremont's $51,686 one-year gain to $805,000. Monterey's $28,985 lift to $729,016, and Stockbridge's $26,652 rise to $738,102 confirm that scenic and second home markets can outrun big metro velocities when supply is tight. Adams's 8.5% annual leap on a $20,736 change to $263,000 shows how small absolute rises can translate to big percentage moves where entry prices are lower. Other towns threading the middle. Situate's $20,586 annual increase to $976,398. Andover's $22,976 rise to $980,274. West Newbury's $19,854 push to $942,399. Boxford's $33,762 jump to $1047,997. Raleigh's $18,492 to $787,048. Danvers' $17,993 to $721,646. Each increment is a marginal decision for a buyer, a seller, and a lender. Another $20,000 can change down payments, inspection credits, or the feasibility of buying before selling. Back to Boston's outer ring. Lexington's $1,560, $212 typical value, up $26,790 in a year, aligns with the gravitational pull of schools and transit. Westwood at $1,211,197 and a one-year increase of $23,479 or 2.0% underscores the same. Sherborne posted $1,209,864, up $35,985, 3.1%, while Weston held the top rung among these examples. Cohasset's $1,390,000 with a $28.74 annual rise shows coastal premium remains intact, even in a more discerning market. Now, what happened? Why it happened? Who is affected? And what's next tied together? What happened? Through September 2026, Massachusetts saw more homes trade hands and higher prices year over year. Single-family closed sales jumped 4.8% in September, and condos 6.4%. There were 3,769 single-family closings that month, 8% more than the 3,489 a year earlier. Across the first 9 months, 31,980 single-family closings marked a 3% rise. Prices rose with them. The September median for single-family sat between $625,000 and $654,000, $500, up roughly 4 to 5% year-over-year, depending on the cross-section used. Condo medians in September reached $525,000, up 1% year-over-year. Why? A recent mortgage rate cut and a late-year cadence often cool buyer urgency, which, combined with an uptick in new listings, 7.5% higher for single-family and 13.3% higher for condos, in September created a more thoughtful market. Yet structural scarcity held firm as single-family inventory fell 4.2% year-over-year in September and 3.3% in August. When a December rate cut was put in doubt, mortgage rates jumped, a reminder that the cost of money still controls the tempo. Who is affected? Buyers across the spectrum are touching the edges of these numbers. In Framingham, a $700,000 median meets a $665,000 statewide median, and 55 single-family listings create room to negotiate, especially for move-in-ready homes around $675,000. At $525,000 to $800,000, Campanelli ranches give first-time buyers a path. In East Hampton, at $422,674, a budget stretches. In Weston, at $220,620, it does not. For sellers, pricing with precision is the unlock. Overpriced homes linger, well-aimed listings can spark multiple offers, as seen with that $675,000 Kate that accepted an offer by the first weekend after listing on September 4th. What's next? As Massachusetts moves through the holidays, balanced pricing and preparation will matter more than bravado. New listings have been rising year over year, 7.5% for single-family and 13.3% for condos, in September indicating more choices are coming to market. Condo inventory is building 5.1% higher in September than a year earlier, suggesting buyers could find leverage in attached housing even as single-family remains tighter. Signals suggest that if additional rate cuts materialize, the more thoughtful cadence persists. If rates jump again, August's pattern of lower closings, down 4.6% for single-family and 0.5% for condos, could reappear. In this context, consider the town-by-town shifts as guideposts. Norwell's $53,660 one-year climb to $1,273 says demand along the South Shore's tree-lined lanes remains firm. Barragant's $50 to $686 burst to $805,000 spotlights the Berkshire's pull. Weston's $48,044 annual jump to $220,602 shows resilience at the top. At the same time, Adams' $20,736 rise to $263,580 shows that affordability magnets can move in bigger percentage terms. The North Shore's double-act Manchester at $1,289,884 and Wenham at $1,040,232, both rising by roughly $46,000, demonstrates that even adjacent towns can share upward pressure. And in the places in between, middling increases wire the state together. Methuen's $20,348 up to $609,720, Berlin's $21,575 to $655,085, Longmeadow's $20,563 to $522,062, Situate's $20,586 to $986, $398, Gloucester's $30,224 to $759, $274. These increments often match a family's saved down payment or an appraisal contingency. They are the dollars that decide a move. The lesson from September's data is not that Massachusetts is cooling or heating in a single direction. It's that the market is choosing its targets. In September, condo buyers had more choices, inventory up 5.1%, and new listings up 13.3% year over year at a median of $525,000. Single-family buyers faced fewer active listings inventory, down 4.2%, but more fresh options, new listings up 7.5%, with prices in a September range between $625,000 and $654,500. In August, those same buyers stared at a $680,000 single-family median and fewer closed sales. The candidates who won were prepared, and the homes that sold were priced to meet them. For those planning moves, the checklist is clear. Buyers should underwrite the town's ARC, not just the house. In Weston at $2,220,602, or Wellesley at $1,969,343, the 5-year trends up $830,2,165 and $640,640. $686 are tailwinds for long-term holders, but hurdles for first-time entrants. In Framingham at $700,000 median, inventory of 55 single-family listings, and price bands from $520,000 to $800,000 for ranches create tactical options. In East Hampton at $422K, $674 typical value, and Longmeadow at $522K, $62. The math shifts again. For sellers, watch the new listing flow in your micro-market. If condos near you saw a 13.3% year-over-year jump in September, you may face more competition on finishes and fees than you did a year ago. Sellers should also internalize the August-September rhythm. August medians can be higher, $680,000 for single-family, yet closings can slip when buyers get rate shock or vacation mode indecision. September can bring more listings and active buyers. Closed sales were up 4.8% for single-family and 6.4% for condos, which suggests that well-presented properties found the path to the closing table. The base case for the remainder of 2025 is a Massachusetts market that remains active but selective. Expect more new listings than last year, September's year-over-year increases of 7.5% for single-family and 13.3% for condos, and expect continued buyer interest when homes meet the market with precision. Prices are likely to remain firm into year-end, with September's single-family medians printing between $625,000 and $654,500 in condos at $525,000, while August's contrasting figure of $680,000 for single-family demonstrates how month-to-month mix can shift the median. Two watch items stand out. First, mortgage rate policy. When a December cut is cast into doubt, rates can jump. That jolt showed up in August closings, down 4.6% for single-family and 0.5% for condos, and could resurface if borrowing costs spike again. Second, the listing pipeline. In September, new listings rose 7.5% for single-family and 13.3% for condos, while single-family inventory still fell 4.2%. If new listings keep rising through December, buyers will have more leverage. If that flow stalls, the single-family squeeze returns, and multiple offer pressure will re-intensify at hot price points like $675,000 in places like Framingham. So, move with intent. If you're buying, have your ceiling set and your documents ready. If you're selling, price for the buyer who exists, not the one who might appear. The Massachusetts market is still moving. 3,769 single-family closings in September, 31,980 across the first 9 months, condo medians at $525,000, and single-family medians between $625,000 and $654,000. $500, and it's rewarding decisions that match the facts on the ground. Tell me, at your Massachusetts price point, whether it's $525,000, $675,000, or $1,027,653, what does the market offer where you live?